if I'm a top person in my career or entrepreneur,
Right.
how do I approach that? And so I'm going to break it
Right.
up into more sports related segments. Before we
Okay.
get started to that, who are you? Why do you think Angela said, Brian, you guys should connect? And then as soon as I talked and as soon as I saw a resume, I was like, please come on the podcast. Tell the people who you are.
Hello, people. Hello.
The world.
Hello, world. So I'm Trish Lindo. I'm a personal branding architect. So I work with women organizations and I basically work with their members to help their entrepreneurs or executives to teach them personal branding strategies. So I help people to figure out what they want to be when they grow up and how to share that across social media. We know that social media is not going anywhere. And, believe it or not, there's still a lot of people out there who haven't really defined how they want to show up, how they can add value, and how they can leverage social media, especially LinkedIn, to grow their personal brand and grow their businesses at the same time.
I know that this is a paid service, but we're going to try to squeeze out as much of the juice of all the amazing stuff of how to make that work. Personally, for myself, because I just went on this journey of I'm going to post something every single day on LinkedIn, which is scary.
It
I don't
is.
know if I'm doing a good job or not. So this is going to be super fun on the LinkedIn side and just the personal branding in general, which it's never talked about. So once again, I'm really thankful that
Yeah.
you're here. And I think that
Yeah.
it's going to open a lot of eyes to,
Right.
wait, this matters. All right. The first segment, it's the pregame. Let's talk about the foundational years. We talked about who you are, but what first inspired this passion for storytelling, community building, branding? How did you get started here? Was it when I was 3 or was it in college? What was it?
Well, no, definitely when I was maybe like 5. No, I'm kidding.
I also like, well,
So
it's like that.
no, definitely not when I was 5. I had no idea what my thoughts were when I was 5, other than eating a lot of cake. But, I was fortunate enough to start my career in entertainment in Los Angeles. So after I graduated from Florida A&M University with a degree in broadcast journalism, much like you, I wanted to be an on-air reporter. And then when I looked at the salary and then you had to, go to like some small town, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. So I moved to LA because I loved entertainment. I loved working, learning about celebrities. I was just fascinated by that world. So, and I wanted to be a part of it. So that's why I moved to Los Angeles to start that journey. Now, I think that storytelling was kind of a natural progression as part of that industry, how you tell stories. My first job was working at Paramount Studios as a PA. I was, getting people coffee and, picking up scripts and delivering scripts and everything like that. And then my next job was working at E! So that's where I really kind of started to learn how to write scripts, how to tell a story, how to effectively communicate in a way that not only entertains, but informs as well. In addition to doing a lot of red carpet. So, I was going to premieres, I went to the Golden Globes, the Oscars, the Emmys, you name it. I was just enamored with that world. The storytelling part was something that, at the time I didn't realize that was something that I needed, but I was picking up that information and learning the importance of how to craft a story, having a beginning, middle, and end, and how to show your personality in a way that, basically can entertain, but again, inform your audiences as well. So I'm very grateful for that. And a lot of my early career was working at places like Yahoo as an entertainment producer or working at CNN as an entertainment producer, doing the same thing, crafting stories, going out into the field, going to a movie premiere, interviewing celebrities, going back to the office, writing up a story, getting those really important, important things like who's getting married, what's your next movie, that sort of thing. All of these things matter because people want to know. People are curious. So how can we tell a story that is interesting and, gets people to read a story online, gets them to click, because we all know the importance of a CRT, a click-through rate. So that's where I sort of learned all those skills at the beginning. Now, as far as the personal branding stuff, At that time, I can tell you that, I think personal branding, like you hear more of it now in I would say maybe in the last 4 years or so, like
Probably.
you
Yeah.
hear it everywhere. But like 10 years ago, I never heard of personal branding. So, I was on a path as it seems, but I couldn't put a name to it, if you
And
will.
I will say that even though 4 or 5 years people been talking about branding, I've never seen anybody actually act on it. And what that actually means, people say the word. So
Yes.
we're gonna get to some of that too, because
Yeah.
sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt, but it's just
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, of course, of course. So, I had an opportunity to work for a lot of big brands, CNN, OWN, BuzzFeed. And I think during that time, using my ability to write, I remember I worked with a producer very early on in my career, and she taught me a very valuable lesson. She said, Trish, if you know how to write, you will always have a job, and it's a skill that is never going to go out of style. Never. So she was like, learn how to write, learn how to tell a story, and you'll always be fine. Now, as someone who was moved out to LA with only $200 in her pocket, parents were like, good luck. You can always come back home if it doesn't work out. I took that and I was like, I'm going to be a great writer. I'm just going to be able to tell a story. So, yeah.
And I think, and for people listening or watching, it's important because I know about 10 years ago, I had a boss, 15 years ago now, told me that I needed to be good at PowerPoints and one pages. And I'm like, that's just a bunch of bullshit. It's just a waste of time. And I got beat into it. And maybe because I'm in HR and I have to work with the execs and you have to learn to tell the story. But if you want to be successful at almost any part of corporate America on top of it, you have to be able to tell a story. Otherwise, you'll get
Absolutely.
spit up and shoot out.
Yeah.
You're preaching nothing but truth.
Yes.
Let's talk about at CNN, you're at OWN, you're at Yahoo.
Hmm.
All right, I'm going to start here, and I don't want to go down the racial rabbit hole, but are there any lessons that we can take away that you took away about navigating the corporate world, especially as a woman, especially as a Black woman?
Yeah, I think that when you are Black and a woman, obviously we know that the intersectionality is there. And it is something that I will say that when I was starting out in my career, had no idea that this was going to be a thing, right? No clue whatsoever. But, you work in enough corporate spaces and you realize that it's a thing. So I've been in meetings where someone asks my opinion, I give my opinion, and then I get a message afterwards that says, hey, can I talk to you? And I'm like, great, yeah, let's talk. I'm thinking, yeah, what's going on?